Yeah, I need to get it. Okay. Might be early night. No, it's gonna be. How you doing? How are you? Good. Oh, no. Well, we, hopefully we didn't have to come too far. You're all right over there that way. People should, it must not get. Fine. Oh, yeah, hello. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the question is, this is what? Good, how are you?
Presentations that I don't forget CC1. No, I'm just gonna ask them.
Glasses. Better if they shared their screen,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
be a little difficult, but I could give it in the page. I have 6:30 now, so I'm going to start the webinar. Doesn't mean you have to start the meeting immediately.
Just not see.
Who's two? Oh, the old one. They're withdrawing their application. Oh, really? Yeah. The other one.
They are?
Yep.
We have a representative from Dole Windsor, is it in person?
Perhaps they join us as a panelist.
That's for the 210 Prospect Park West. Okay. How about 444 7th Avenue? Representing American Team. Okay, well, we'll give folks a minute or two then. So,
This is usually the time for us to consider now, so.
they know they,
Minutes.
yeah, okay. How about our MTA folks?
No, we have at least some of them online.
Can we have the representative from the MTA? Are all of you here? Because I will call the meeting to order in a minute, but if all of our I know applications are not here yet, we might just start with you guys.
Katerina, do you have everybody from MTA joining us already?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
No, we can't. Hang on one second. We have some technical difficulties. Let's try that again.
How about now? How am I? You hear me well?
Yes.
And
Okay,
you'll
great.
plan on sharing, right, when you call your presentation?
We will be sharing screen if that was the question.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. Was there another question? I'm sorry if I missed it.
No, that was the only question, but you can hear me okay, right?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so if we are broadcasting, right, so we don't have our, first two, agenda items, so we'll go straight to the MTA, but let me invite you all. Thank you for being at our Transportation Committee meeting for Committee Board 7. I'm Katie Walsh, I'm the chair. John Blooper is the vice chair. welcome to your next term. For those who are coming back and rejoining, we have a bunch of new committee members as well, which is also exciting. The work of the Transportation Committee is wide and deep. As you all know, we have a lot of issues that we tackle at Community Board 7, related to safety, accessibility, a range of issues specifically related to sort of the day-to-day transportation problems that we face. So thank you for your service and for all of the public members who will end up listening in later. We appreciate you tuning into the community board. So we're going to kick off with roll call, and I would just ask if you are, we'll go through roll call and then I'll do the next thing after that. So, thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you. If you are joining us online, when I call your name, please remember to unmute yourself, acknowledge your name, and then mute yourself again. Folks, if you are joining us as a guest, as a panelist, please keep yourself muted until it's time for you to talk. I see two of you unmuted. Let's start with Katie Walsh.
Present.
Thank you. John DeLuca. Thank you. Joan Body. Thank you. George Cardona. Jerry Chan. Thank you. Jamie Freed. Thank you. Daniel Kaminsky. Angie Lau. Roberto A. Martinez. Thank you. Roberto, you do not count towards the quorum. Gabino Morales. Thank you. Jamie Nelson. Maria Roca. Sam Sierra. Faye Walker. You have a quorum.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, and for those participating in person to allow us to hit quorum first. Okay, so I will just start off to adjust the agenda. We will move to agenda item focused with the MTA. They'll be presenting the ADA accessible elevator design construction plans. Then we will, at that point, check in to see if our dining out application proposals are here. And if not, then we'll keep going to the bike more presentation and then to open plans and daylighting. So with that, I will just turn over to the MTA.
Who will be sharing the screen from MTA?
So Kana Irvin will be sharing her screen for our presentation. But thank you so much, everyone, for having us. Just as Kana pulls up our presentation, I just want to briefly introduce myself for those I haven't met yet, which might be most people. My name is Katerina Patori. I'm newly taking over coverage of Brooklyn CB7 from my colleague who recently retired from MTA. So it's a pleasure to be here. And thank you to the Transportation Committee for making the time to have us on the agenda this evening. As was just noted, we're excited to be back here to present on the ADA project plan for 36th Street. And we have a brief presentation to take you through, and we'll have time for some questions as well.
Yeah, sorry, I just shared that I'm not able to screen share, so can someone change the setting?
I had to give you permission. You have permission now.
Okay, great,
Right.
it works. Thank you. Let's see.
I can see it.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much for having us. My name is Kana Irvin. I'm from MTA Construction and Development, and I'm joined by my colleagues, Katerina from GCR, as well as our design build team, Judd Law, and we also have our project management consultant, ACOM. We're really excited to come back to this community board and present more detailed updates on project scope, as well as the design for the ADA upgrades here at the station at 36th Street. This station is part of ADA Package 5. That's a design builds package of 13 stations. It's the largest bundle of accessibility upgrades that we've awarded to date. 36th Street is actually one of 36 stations currently in construction for ADA accessibility. So far, we've completed 6 stations and we're at 153 accessible stations and counting. And this package is in the current capital plan, which invests over $5 billion for ADA upgrades. And then last month, the MTA released our 2025 to 2029 capital plan, which earmarks a record $6.9 billion for ADA upgrades. Great. So first, just to do some table setting here, we have a much more detailed version of the presentation that we gave in June. So we'll be going over the scope of upgrades that make the station ADA accessible, as well as how we're going to be creating 2 additional means of station egress here at 36th Street. We know that this was a point that was raised in the last community board presentation, so we're happy to come back with good news on that. Our stations on the 4th Ave typically were designed with only 1 stair per platform, so we're going to be adding 2 new entrances, and that'll be a great improvement to passenger circulation in and around the station. We'll also be discussing what customers and residents can expect in terms of our footprint here along 4th Avenue. And finally, we'll be touching on how the MTA is working with DOT to ensure that there will be a smooth flow of traffic between our work zone and the DDC 4th Ave reconstruction project occupying adjacent blocks. So before we dive into the project scope, it's important to just see what we're working with here. So here in this diagram, we have the existing station layout with that station superimposed onto the street view. You can see the red outline represents the extent of the station box underground. The blue outline is the small mezzanine to the south end of the station with the 3 street level stairs. And the yellow shapes represent where the station's 2 island platforms lie directly below the street. And as you can see, the majority of those station platforms lie right under the roadway. So in order for us to install these 2 new elevators that are part of this project, and in order for them to have that straight path of travel from the street to the platform, the elevator head houses that we'll be constructing here will be sitting just inside the roadbed. There will be 2 new head houses, one at the northwest corner on 4th Avenue and 35th Street, and the other at the southeast corner on 4th Ave and 34th. Each one will contain a new elevator and a new staircase. And you can see the red rectangles represent that new head house. They're not drawn to scale, they won't be that large, but they just show where they're going to be falling on the platform and where they'll be sitting on the street. And we'll also be having street bump outs for platform access, while also avoiding the local and express tracks surrounding the platform. Great. So 36th Street, it's a very important and busy transfer station in South Brooklyn, connecting the D, N, and R. It serves around 11,000 riders on a typical weekday, which is a ridership that's very similar to pre-COVID as well. And we're very excited to be moving forward with this project. Accessibility here will greatly strengthen our network of accessible stations in South Brooklyn. To make this station accessible for riders who require a stair-free path of travel, we'll be building 2 elevator head houses at street level, which will provide access directly to the platform. We're creating an ADA raised boarding area, 1 on each platform, as well as adding the yellow tactile edge strips along the entire platform length. We'll be addressing other amenities throughout the station as well. So we'll be overhauling our fire alarm system and extending its reach to those head houses. We're adding 4 new customer information screens, 2 in each head house. And we're also going to be installing a MetroCard vending machine, 2 turnstiles equipped with Omni, an automated gate, and an exit validator. So there'll be that in each head house. And this project will require some slight reconfigurations to the road design. And we're working really closely with DOT to make sure that this project is integrated with the city's 4th Ave redesign to facilitate that safer vehicle, bike, and pedestrian access along the corridor. So here we have a few slides of renderings just to show you what the head houses will look like from the street view. We have the southbound head house on the northwest corner of 4th Ave and 34th Street. And this is the interior of the head house, the southbound head house. One of the great benefits of constructing a head house is that it allows customers who need a wheelchair to take just one elevator from the street to the platform. All of our stations are designed a little bit differently, and in some stations where we have accessibility projects, we have to build an elevator from the street to the mezz and another from then the mezzanine to the platform. And at the head house facilitates just faster and easier path of travel for anyone who requires an elevator. This is the view of the elevator from the platform. So that's one of the new stairwells to the right that will be providing additional egress from the street to the platform. And this is a rendering showing a cross-section of the street and below. So this is from the point of view of someone standing on the sidewalk in front of the high school, looking across the street at Maple Ave. We want to note that it's not necessarily like fully representative of what that view looks like, but it does give a good glimpse of where the elevator lands in regarding the street level and where it lies directly below on the platform. This is the street view of the northbound head house located on the northeast corner of 4th Ave and 34th. And another cross section. This time is the opposite side of the street. So we wanted to come to you and just talk about the first 12 months. This will be a long project, but we wanted to make sure that everyone is prepared and knows what's coming. So we're ready to hit the ground running with phase 1 of this work. The MTA has completed our pre-construction work. We've done our soil borings and done site surveys, and we're ready to start with that real construction work as soon as we get permits from DOT. And we're working very closely with them. We're coordinating with DOT to make sure that our project and the DDC project timelines mesh well. After we finish phase 1, we're going to be moving on to phase 2 immediately afterwards. It's just a continuation of utility relocation for gas, sewer, water, electric, and telecom lines. And the start date of phase 2 really just depends mostly on the progress of the DDC project. So we are coordinating with DOT in very close communication with them. And once that starts, it'll continue into the winter. Great. So this is a visual that shows our work site location, just our footprint in general along 4th Ave. So you can see that the red boxes are the work zones, and we have the staging areas in black. So again, this first phase, it supports the utility reconstruction and relocation. And to do so, we're demolishing the median and closing vents on that middle island between 36th and 33rd. And that's also necessary for maintaining traffic while we do that important utility relocation work. So what does that mean for the neighborhood and for customers and residents? So there will be some impacts along 4th Avenue. We'll focus on the traffic flow. So during peak rush hour, there will be 2 lanes of vehicle traffic maintained during those peak rush hours, and that's in the morning from 7 to 10 a.m. The northbound traffic towards Manhattan will have 2 travel lanes, as well as the southbound traffic towards Bay Ridge from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Those 2 travel lanes will be maintained. And when we have those 2 travel lanes, we will be eliminating parking so that we can have just better vehicle flow. During off-peak hours, we're going to be having 1 travel lane and 1 parking and loading lane in both directions. And the bike lane is represented by that green dash line, and that will be maintained throughout our work zone at all times. And just touching on our staging areas right there on 34th and 35th Street. So those are not necessarily to scale, but they'll give residents an approximation of where we'll be located and where they can expect us. When we came in front of the community board in June, we heard just some concerns over limited space on the other side of 34th Street with restrictions due to the city bike racks and driveway egress. So we heard that and we moved it across the street to the west side where it's not as constricted. And on 35th Street, we just also want to note that we've been in touch with Sunset Park High School. We have more coordination to do, but we have made contact with them, and we can confirm that 35th Street does not interfere with their school bus parking. In addition, loading access for businesses will be maintained to the extent possible. We will be maintaining Greenwood Cemetery access at all times. And this is an important point to this community board and something that the MTA cares about a lot, but we want to reiterate that we will be strictly enforcing any illegal parking of contractor vehicles with vests. So we have a resident C&D member who lives right in the neighborhood right around here. So he will make sure, and we will make sure to enforce that. And phase 2 looks very similar to this. It's a continuation of this work. It's some utility relocation along the curb, as well as some areas on the sidewalk. And the goal is the same. We're maintaining the 2 lanes during rush hour, the bike lane to be maintained at all times, and we're going to be accommodating parking as best as we can. Great. So we are working very closely with DOT to ensure that there's that smooth transition between our work zone and the DDC 4th Ave reconstruction project. And the way we're doing that is by using construction barrels, and those will be tapered between the work sites to make sure that traffic flows safely and smoothly. We also just want to note that the block between 32nd and 33rd right there, we've marked it as a work site, but we're not doing active construction there. That will just be used to facilitate that smooth flow of traffic and to do the tapers to make sure that there's safe vehicle travel along 4th Avenue. We do also want to note that DOT has previously committed to not working at more than 6 blocks at a time. However, we do feel that this is a very important project. So we're working really closely with them to make sure that we can kick that off as soon as possible, even if it means that there's some slight overlap in construction timelines. Wonderful. So just some next steps and contact information in case you want to reach us. We are working with the city to expedite these permits as soon as we can so that we can start construction. Please feel free to reach out to us at this hotline. You can give us a call, leave a voicemail, and our project team will get back to you within 24 hours during the work week. And you can also drop us a note via our email address right there. And of course, you have Katarina's information, and we can open it up to any questions now.
That's great. Thank you so much. I just want to acknowledge the constraints that the MTA has given congestion pricing, and so the fact that this project is still ahead. This community is overjoyed. We will talk through concerns and challenges and things, of course, that people are thinking about, but we've seen a lot of projects canceled. So just want to state that, and also the fact that you did integrate, we heard in your presentation some of the design concerns we have, making sure there was another egress. And thank you for acknowledging the plans around contractors and concerns around legal parking. So I'm sure there will be lots of specific things that people want to talk about. I do just also want to acknowledge during the presentation we had Mr. Chang had come into the room, so he's here presentation as well. But I will just ask one question and then our board members, then we can open up to the public. Which is a question on the design, specifically head houses, right? This is a word that I learned in terms of MTA design. So are the head houses for the entrances could pull up one of the slides that was
I'm kind of having a hard time hearing you. Sorry, it's cutting in and out a little bit.
Okay, any suggestions?
Could you maybe if you put the question in the chat too, it'll help just to have it writing.
I will not move my head and hope that helps. The question specifically is, are the head houses of the median? Or do you expect to widen the median to accommodate the head house?
I think I'm going to call on a member of our project team to talk a little bit about that. Let me see. Where is...
This is Richard Corey from WSP. I'm the project director for ADA Package 5, working with Judd Lau. The median I think that you're referring to is the center island median. That island median is going away. These are new curbs next to the bike lanes that are being installed to accommodate these new head houses. So the center island medians are going away.
So you'll have the sidewalk, you'll have a bike lane, And then you'll have the head house, and then you will have your travel lanes, and then you'll have another head house and a bike lane if you're walking from one side to the other.
Yeah, they're kind of catty cornered, the head houses, but yes, if you're crossing 35th Street, for example, you'll, I mean, 4th Avenue at 35th Street, you'll cross a bike lane, you'll walk onto the island, the new island for the head house. And as you're crossing 34th Street or 4th Avenue, sorry, you'll cross straight across to the next side, bike lane to the sidewalk. And then the next head house, which is at the northeast corner, I think that's the direction that was mentioned, is kind of catty corner to that. So the representation of the streets on this is kind of a little confusing, but that's kind of describing it. Yeah.
The thing that I'm getting at is what will the experience of someone who needs to take their time to get across the street? How will they have a lot further to travel because they don't have that center median to take a rest if they miss? That's the part that I'm just trying to understand, like how much time would someone have? Because what we're talking about is they go through and they have the area where they can stop because the head house is there, but then are you saying they have to cross 4 lanes of traffic and another bike lane before they get to the curb?
Yeah, yeah. The 4 lanes are going to be closer together, so it'll be a shorter distance. But yes, there will not be a center island as they're crossing from one side of the street to the other. The roadway, because of the space that's being taken up by the head houses and the curbs, as well as keeping the bike lanes, the roadway narrows around here and kind of, as some folks call it, chicane around these head houses. But the lanes that are there are narrower, and so they should be able to get across quicker. But they do have the head house island they could start the cross at. It's a little bit shorter distance, but there'll be no island in the middle there, a median for them to stop.
And this is Sean Fitzpatrick on the MTA side. Forgive me, I'm sort of in transit, but this is an important project, so happy to be able to join this. Just to say, and I'm sure kind of covered it in the presentation, but just to emphasize, the reason that the head houses are where they are is because of this layout of where the platforms are below. So, we're still working with DOT to make sure that the final sort of configuration, the details that the project team described or the broad brushstrokes that the project team described are definitely going to be the case. But we're working with DOT to make sure that the pedestrian experience accessing the station itself and then crossing the street is sort of as good as it can be given some of the constraints here.
So I'll say one last thing. One of the challenges that we have in the update that happened on 4th Avenue is that DOT took away the center median areas and
just created turn lanes, and it's created a lot of additional problems, neighbors getting hit. And this is an issue in the design that DOT implemented on 4th Avenue that we've been on the record talking about. So especially when we have a new design coming to our community, we are thinking about that, and we can't rely on that wisdom of DOT because of what we already saw and what we're seeing in implementation. So I will leave that there as a concern to be able to come back and talk to you guys a bit more. I'm not a transportation planner, but does it mean creating extended, I don't know, but does it mean creating extended cross times with the signals? Does it mean we need some kind of commitment from DOT on additional hardened infrastructure at the corners? Because they haven't done that yet. So I just want to kind of leave the problem with you, which is that there's a concern on the accessibility of having to cross 4 lanes, even if they're narrow, a bike lane to get to the curb. So I'll leave that there. John, do you want to ask a question, and then we can ask any other board members?
Sure. Let me follow up actually on the head house question, because I've seen some of the other newer elevators where the MTA kind of builds like a little mini sidewalk in the street. Is that what you're planning to do? Like the city is supposed to do on 4th Avenue, where there'll be little in the areas they call pedestrian refuges, that there'll be actual sidewalk there, or is that just next to them, it's just like asphalt or paint? And maybe if you have other renderings.
Yeah. Whoever has the slides, maybe you can show the head house, the rendering, and right in front of it, maybe we could just show the head house.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm having a really hard time hearing that last question.
Okay.
All right. I can hear you though.
Yeah, so to answer the question, as you can see here, it's a raised curb at each of the head houses. So you're walking from a sidewalk onto the street, which is the bike lane, back up onto the sidewalk. And that is, we've taken care to provide protection for customers to not walk into the bike lane, through blind spot at the corner by providing railing, and at the car side to provide a concrete barricade that you can see the vehicles, but however, it does protect the pedestrians and customers at that location. So it is a raised sidewalk that is at each of these head houses. So it's not down at street level. It's not asphalt. It is a concrete sidewalk.
Also, I microphone. I do want to give you guys a lot of kudos for coming back and listening to our concerns that we had about some of the issues like contractor parking and about adding the additional accessibility. I know in other cities, a lot of times this head house model is something that people do where they do go directly onto the platform. So as I understand it, that also increases reliability because you go from 4 elevators to 2. So I'm cautiously optimistic on this. But the question about the schools and the parking, you mentioned talking to Sunset Park High School. Last time we had talked about talking to some of the other schools in the area. Have you been in contact with them as well?
Yes, and apologies because I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing as well from those who are in the room. But I think I heard the question about coordination with schools. So we know that there are other schools in the immediate area in addition to Sunset Park High School. We've had preliminary conversations with them, but we will be on the design so that they know what to expect. In addition to Sunset Park High School, but we are going to be kind of having additional meetings and outreach with them in the field as we are kind of approaching the mobilization, and now that we have this finalized design.
Cool. And then the next question was about the parking on 4th Avenue. The problems with the way DOT and Department of Design Construction have modeled their current one are really bad. Like they've made decisions to try to preserve the 2 lanes like you're suggesting, but the enforcement doesn't happen. So 1 lane that's supposed to be travel becomes cars, but they also they didn't stripe it. And so this is why your plan with the barrels worries me a little bit. They didn't stripe it. So actually there might have been room to keep a bike lane like you're preserving, but they don't really. So like, how are you going to do this coordination, and how are you going to ensure that during the hours that the parking is not allowed, or that you have these loading zone type things? How is it actually going to work? Like if our police and traffic agents aren't doing it so much, are you going to have MTA police do it? Are you going to tow cars? Like I'm really worried that we're going to have just 1 lane during those times, and things will back up. And last weekend there was a lot of construction, or there was construction MTA did starting at 36th Street. So you were running buses and they were stuck in 1 lane for a big chunk, and not going anywhere. So how's the traffic gonna?
Yeah, and
who's gonna do this enforcing?
yeah, thank you. And we hear that concern. So MTA PD would not be sent to enforce. We would work with the city and NYPD. I think maybe either Vic or maybe I'd call on Isaac. I think I saw him from DOT to maybe comment on that.
Yeah, this is Vic. I just want to make sure that the area we are going to be taking over, we definitely will ensure that we maintain the double parking is not going to be allowed. However, we will reach out to DOT and make sure that that is implemented across for all the streets. So we will ensure that the double parking will not be there, and if we have to use the tow trucks, we will use that.
Thank you, Vic, for clarifying that. There are a couple of things that I want to go over that were discussed over the last 5-10 minutes. First, about the head houses, that they are located over the platform because it was not really possible to construct the standard, as John mentioned, the standard solution, which is off on the side of the road, so that it is impossible to do the standard we're doing. MTA has very creatively developed a plan to make it possible.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I've been able to sort of mostly hear folks in the room, but the person who's speaking now, I really can't hear. If it's just me, I'll shut up, but I wonder if other colleagues are having the same trouble.
No, I was just about to say I couldn't tell it to my computer, but I can't hear anything.
Yeah, you need to keep the mic real close as you're talking. Thank you.
Thank
If not, you're welcome to come up here and just use one of these. Yeah. That might be easier. Joy of city funding for community boards, which includes tech and translation access. We would like more.
Okay. Sean, is the voice better?
Yes, I can hear you now. Still somewhat quiet, so project, but we can hear you.
I shall do it. Again, I wanted to first say that the designs are very creative and attend to a problem that does exist at that station. The head houses are not in the middle of the road out of choice. It's because it was necessary, because there is limited headroom beneath the roadway. So that is why, as John suggested, it's not possible to construct the standard in the sidewalk area. That's why the head houses are there in the middle of the road. Number two, I'd like to point out that there are definitely, on the flip side, irregularities. They're definitely out of the ordinary, but that the Department of Transportation is committed to working with the MTA and the designer, as Richard Corey mentioned, to make it clearer to pedestrians what they have ahead of them. So if they are on the refuge island will allow them to stop and then proceed only when they can cross the full road. So as the Assemblyman mentioned, we will be looking at the timing of those signals as well to make sure that that time is allowed. But I think I'd like to also point out, Chair, that if you have any specific experience regarding the problems that do exist today in regards to the configuration, we would be more than happy to take a look at the specifics and investigate why there are problems at these other locations that have been reconfigured along 4th Avenue. So please do not hesitate, and we will definitely follow up.
And I'm embarrassed to say, are you with DOT? I didn't even catch
On a good day, yes.
I didn't catch your introduction.
Tonight with all of you, because
Okay.
when a community board
introduce-
really gets everybody together,
Yeah.
it is a great thing. But yes, with the DOT.
Okay.
Permitting group.
In the permitting group. Okay, excellent.
You said your name was Isaac. Did I hear that right?
ISAAC Menda, MENDA.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go, appreciate you coming up to the mic. It sounds like maybe these are not working well, so we'll just ask board members if you have questions, just come up. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. First of all, thank you for the presentation, and thank you also for being sensitive to an issue that we've spoken of in previous projects, which is the parking or illegal parking by the subcontractors. I wanted to ask.
I'm so sorry. I can't hear anything. Is there any way that maybe the mic can be moved closer?
I could hear
Perhaps if you
the
try
gentleman talking.
putting on closed caption, you could at least get the questions.
Okay, I can hear you now.
So related to the parking by the contractors, I wanted to ask what it is that they are going to be told, who is going to tell them, and what is going to be the penalty, if you will, for the offenders. And last question is, the number of the team that we're supposed to call, are they based in Orlando, Florida? That's a 407 area code. I think it's Orlando. I was just curious. But if you could answer my first three questions, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Dilip, could you please respond to that first question?
Kana, this is Vic Tadler. I'll take up that first question. Yes, we will make sure that no contractors will be parking on that particular street, right? And also, if we see any violation, we will enforce it. And this has been in some areas also, we had these issues in Manhattan, but we have come through this by strictly enforcing no contractor will be parking in any of the areas which is dedicated for construction. It's only strictly for construction or delivery of material.
Okay, and we have, I will, just one quick second. We have 3, possibly 4 more presentations tonight. So I just want to remind everyone else of more presentations to come. But we'll go around and we'll capture a couple more questions. Do you want to go ahead?
Whoever got the login in, I think you would.
I think I'm year 9 of controls. So, everyone, thank you for this presentation. My question overlaps with a couple, but you mentioned that the bike lane is going to be present 24/7 regardless of rush hour. Currently, most of Fourth Ave is protected, but those few blocks is painted, if I'm picturing correctly. So I can imagine that as, lanes and parking and all of that changes throughout the day, cars start using bike lane as the driving lane, which already happens on other parts of Fourth, and as a cyclist is super, super scary. So curious with what, how we can ensure that that bike lane is actually bike lane throughout the 24/7 for the construction year. Thanks so much.
I have a mic first.
What I was hoping to do is capture a couple of the questions and then have you MTA respond, and then we can be done. So I'll just capture this last question from Jerry, but Isaac, don't go far. Thank you.
So my question is also related to parking, especially around 34th and 35th Street. I see the staging area on the slide, I think they slide never happened. The staging area is actually in front. Oh, go back to that picture. Oh, go back to the other one. Go back to the other one. Back to. You go forward. Oh.
Wait, you're asking about the staging area, right? I'm flipping to the staging area.
Yeah, but that was one answer to John's question about crossing the street. You see how they was set up. It is a little.
Yeah, I understand that now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the staging area on 34th and 35th Street, it is actually sandwiching the Sunset Park High School. So, no one construction, which they start very early and they end very early too, during school time. How are not you, right? MTA is going to help reduce the noise coming from outside and won't interfere with the school system. That's one. 2 is you're also taking parking spot away from DOT parking spot. How are you replacing those? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, and then after this, I will just start the presentation. Do any other board members have questions? Sorry, committee members. Okay, great. So now turn to MTA, parking and staging, sound, the school, bike accessibility, and preserving that The outstanding question was just contact for any issues where they base. Okay, Isaac, if you want to take that.
Thank you, Chair. First, it was mentioned earlier that MTA Police Department will not be issuing violations, it will be NYPD. But it is our belief that with the hours that we're going to be providing for parking along 4th Avenue when it is feasible, that will reduce the illegal parking and really allow for the deliveries to be made safely. The point about the bicyclists is a very real point. The protected bike lane that the Department of Transportation has instituted throughout has to disappear during certain stages, during certain construction stages. Unfortunately, will not be a protected. It will be a bike lane, as you pointed out, but not a protected bike lane. One last thing before, because I know you're moving at lightning speed. 34th and 35th were chosen specifically because the contractor needs to be able to lay down equipment, utilities that are going to support that construction along 4th Avenue. They just cannot stage everything on 4th Avenue. So we chose those. The Board of Ed authorized parking is not affected. I would like to also point out, unfortunately, that it's not only the parking on 34th and 35th, but the parking across the street from 34th and 35th that will be affected. And the reason for that is because if you have a laydown area and parking across the street, it would block traffic for a long block. So that's why we have to restrict the parking on the opposite side of the street.
And do you know anything about the noise, discussion on noise pollution?
There's got to be really no noise emanating from the laydown area there. I mean, there is construction because the school also faces 4th Avenue, but not along 35th, 34th, because the laydown area is basically for materials and for
Thank you. Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate it. And thank you, MTA, for your presentation and joining us virtually. Apologize for the tech issues. Community board all over the city are always welcoming more support and funding to be able to have a better city budget. Okay, so we'll let MTA go. And if you are tuning in, you can always send any additional feedback by email to the community board at bk07@cb.nyc.gov, or also reach Jeremy 718-854-000. Okay, so I just want to double check. Do we have any of our applicants for the dining out restaurants here? So, Henry, which restaurant are you representing? Great. Okay, is Double Windsor come?
Michael Kelly, are you from Double Windsor?
Michael Kelly's here.
Michael?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear him.
Okay, so we will invite our applicant up.
Yeah, that's Michael Kelly.
Yes, I'm here, and Jeffrey Splitzer, the owner, is here.
We are going to go ahead. We'll invite our applicant from American Cheese to come up, 4447 7th Avenue. This is a dining out application. As you're coming up and getting sorted, I will just say very quickly, the Department of Transportation has a policy over the last 7 months, which is to the dining sheds, it's called the dining out program. What this means, there's very specific requirements that DOT set out in structure, the process, how you get an application to have a dining shed. The dining sheds that had gone up during the COVID time, these are not precise numbers, but at some point in New York City, I think there are about 1,000 dining sheds. And if they had gone through this process and application, then had to come down effectively as per the office. So at this point, we are in the new phase of outdoor dining and dining sheds. And so as part of that process, there is the application comes to DOT and then it gets sent to the community board. And if we don't invite the applicant to talk to us, the next step process is that the
Sure, I can
applicant.
access that. I can access.
So, we have decided in community boards, for now, at least, that we want to invite this person to come in and share with us their dining. We've only so far had, as I understand it, under 5, maybe we had 2 or 3 who come to us. There's only one before break for this. So we don't have a lot of experience in doing this, but I just want to say that, you know, they'll present, we'll talk about their plans, and then we'll go to the next app. But they're just, we'll talk about.
Oh, hi, Jerry.
Yeah, if there are any questions.
Yeah, turned it to the one you had sent it to me.
Yeah, yes, John might know the answer.
I could be wrong, but I want to say it's November 30th to March 31st. They can't have it up. So I want to say those are the dates.
I can
Might
put
be
it.
plus or minus.
It's first day of business that you can serve outside. It's April 1st. Oh, sorry.
The first day that you can serve outside is April 1st.
April 1st, and the last day you can serve is excuse me, November 29th. But you're given the week before April 1st to construct your, so you can grab those parking spots for people. And then you're given the week after to November 29th to take it all down.
Great. So we'll turn to you. We'll say that we just invited to give them a short presentation, 5 minutes, like, and then we can ask questions.
If you want to, I emailed the presentation. So if you want to start with Double Windsor, you can. And I know I see them on there.
Jeremy has to multitask.
So I had him send it to my email because I don't have access to the email he sent it to. Oh, wait, is that it? Nope. So it might take a couple of minutes because it's a large document.
Yes.
So maybe we'll start with that. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go start ahead with the Windsor 210 Prospect Park. And that's my.
So Michael Kelly, let's see if we can hear you this time.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Over to you.
Okay. My name is Michael Kelly. I'm representing the applicant. With me is Jeffrey Switzer. He's one of the owners. This is a sidewalk cafe application for 210 PPW Restaurant LLC, doing business as the Double Windsor. We're located at 210 Prospect Park West at the corner of 16th Street. We've been open and operating for 15 plus years. We're a full service bar restaurant. All of our seating will be on the sidewalk. We have 7 tables and 14 seats on Prospect Park West, using 4 feet, 11 inches of a 19-foot, 1-inch sidewalk. We are 8 feet away from the closest edge of the tree pit, which is the minimum required clearance. We also have a traffic light, bike rack, parking meter, and fire hydrant. We're 8 feet away or over 8 feet away from all of these. Our indoor hours of operation are 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. The outdoor seating will close by midnight. We have had seating out throughout COVID under the open restaurant seating program. We will be in the future filing to alter our liquor license to include the outside under the SLA's new guidelines. The cafe, the 7 tables and 14 seats, extends the length of the frontage of the restaurant, does not go any further, which is 33 feet, 7 inches. So if there are any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Michael. Did you have any photos or anything that you wanted to share? What it currently looks like, what your plans are?
They would have been in the application DOT sent you.
Okay, that's good. So I will pass around. We have 2 copies in the community board room that we're in right now, so that community board members can take a look. And we're passing them around the room. We will also send these out as part of I actually, yeah. So I don't have any questions. I'll ask John if you have any. I've not been returned to the committee members.
Quick one about the alcohol and the outdoor seating closure. you're open till 2 a.m., but you're closing at midnight. Is that because of the requirement that the DOT imposes? And the reason I asked that is because you also mentioned something about amending the liquor license due to it. So if you could just address those things, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, after the license gets approved, we have to file for an alteration with the SLA to include the outdoor seating. We were permitted under COVID to serve alcohol outside. Now with the 12 a.m., sometimes if anybody's been to the place, they'll see that sometimes we close at 9, 10. Sometimes people are around, so we close at midnight. But if nobody's out there, we take the tables and chairs in.
So that was my question. Like regarding the outdoor tables and chairs, you have enough space to store those chairs and tables at night only, or as required by DOT in case of snow or anything.
Yes, they would be stored inside. We store them inside now. We have been for the last 4 years.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So as part of the process, we have to vote on this as the transportation committee. And so I would propose that we vote to support this application for dining out, for the Double Windsor at 210 Prospect Park West with unanimous consent. Do I have a second? Second. Great. Oh, sorry, Joan did it. I'll take a moment. Is there any objections to the unanimous consent? No. Okay, so with that, Community Board 7 has approved this part of the process for you for your dining out application. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, American Cheese. That's you. 4447. Thank you.
I made this great big presentation. I don't know where.
Still haven't received it yet.
Don't worry about it. It's not.
We can do the same thing where we pass it out.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at it? Yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah. Yes.
So all that time making this presentation.
Very much.
So I guess I'll just speak. My name is Brad Dorian. I have American Cheese. I'm on 7th Avenue and 15th Street. Been there for almost 11 years now. And yeah, the value changed again. We're in a really nice space. We're in the corner and we had zero problems with our neighbors. It's amazing. We open up during business hours, close by midnight every night, and that is the law. So that you have to have all outside dining shut down by midnight. We are lucky enough to have some area on the side of the building where we can store it during the winter months. And at night, we just put the tables and chairs, we stack them. In general, it's amazing. We created a whole new class, a group of people that came in and they bring their kids and dogs and eat pizza and stuff like that. We couldn't get the application.
Okay.
Any questions?
Excellent. Any questions? Okay.
So I was looking at your application and I wanted to check a couple things. So first, the first couple applicants we had made a big, for roadway cafes, talked about how it was important for them in the revised design to have water-filled barriers. Looking at your picture, are you changing your setup to accommodate this? Or
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's just, we just did to rebuild the whole thing. The ones we slapped together during COVID, as you can see, the DOT wanted them down. That's one of the reasons they're doing a whole seasonal thing. Is that only the people who are serious about it, it's going to be a stringent process. Approvals and oh gee, I can't think of the word right now. But yeah, basically yearly inspections and all the rest. They're involved in that. And then the new rules are, they're basically shaggy. And so they just want them all down. They're all coming down November 1st. Unless they're up to code right now, the new regulations, but there's almost no use. We're all taking about 6 months before April 1st to redesign under the guidelines of what the DOT has come up with New York City dining out. And we're all redoing that now. Instead of the sandbags all over the place, there's going to be, each one has to be water fill barrier. It can be a series, maybe those long roadway barriers you see in construction sites and all the rest, like the no box. Or they can be actually just covered by saltwater filled trash cans. So they're all going to be completely enveloped. The rats won't be able to get in. They're going to be completely enclosed pieces with saltwater filled.
So then following up on that, right now it looks like your current setup is like 5 feet from the intersection, but the new one has to be 8.
Yep. The current one is exactly 8 feet.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have here with our situation, we follow the rules. And if you guys have any questions about the rules, I know them. Yeah, we are completely 8 feet to the inch to everything we need to be. 8 feet from the curb, 8 feet from the sidewalk.
The last part on that was, I also saw you checked off that you were gonna have electric lighting, and I know that has changed. How is that gonna work?
That, the heating is what you're talking about. Lighting is no problem at all. That can just come right out of your space. But it has to be from a pole that's 10 feet. No, actually, I'm sorry, 14 feet. So if it's coming out your window or the side of your building, whatever it is, has to be able to hold 14 feet and come down. If you have heating though, that takes an entire new electric box.
If you're having lighting and heating or just lighting?
Yeah, basically lights, there's Christmas lights. The same thing you could have on the outside.
And that pole that you said, correct me if I'm wrong, current setup has a solid barrier and you're gonna have the fabric barrier near the new one.
Well, actually, that is, I'm so decided what I'd like to do, is what it has to be done, a lot of the fabric barrier is nice and easy to bring down to some support what you want. But all you need to do is your covering has to be able to be brought down within 5 minute period, I believe, or 10 minute period. So you can actually build rigid tops, but they'll be like T-tops for a transit. And that's what we like to do is because we have that nice clear plastic and transparent roof. So basically you just be take it down for that. That's what I'd like to do, but that's gonna be the next 5 months. In general, it's gonna be the water flow barriers and then the new overhead coverings we're gonna figure out.
Okay, any other last minute questions? Okay, sorry that you couldn't share the presentation now, but we will include it in our materials that go out. And it's great to have the businesses come in because then it also invites all of us to be future patrons of these restaurants as well. So I'll just say that at this point, I'm going to go ahead to recommend that we move American Cheese at 444 7th Avenue, their dining out application, unanimous consent. I'll second, I'll get Jerry this time. Do I have any objections? No, so with that, we approve your application.
Oh, that's been a good day. You're all welcome in America.
Can't accept that. Okay, so thank you so much, both for being here. You're welcome to stay if you'd like. I'm really happy we have some representatives from, so I just want to make sure I get this right. Bike More for the $5 city bike for students program.
The name of the campaign, but we're the Transportation Alternatives Youth Activist.
Transportation Alternatives Youth Activist. So if this is your moment in the agenda, we would love to invite you to come up. And we'll make sure that we have, I believe you have a slide presentation.
What's the name?
And I think her name is
Anya.
Anya. Okay, so she should be able to share first.
Yeah, no, she's not here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, she is. I have to promote her to panelist first.
So yeah, if you could start out, you can introduce yourself. Do let us know if you live in the district. That's helpful to know if you live in Community Board 7. Paris, and the floor is yours. I think it's about 5-minute presentations.
Just give me 1 minute for Anya.
Hi, I don't have access to share my screen.
I just gave you permission. You should be able to have it.
Okay, so we can see the presentation. So when you're speaking into the mic, just make sure you stay close to.
All right. Okay. Hello, Brooklyn Community Board 7. Thank you for giving us this platform to speak on. My name is Riley Miles, and I am a senior at Brooklyn Technical High School.
And my name is Anya Maria, and I attend John P. Stevens High School, and we're here to explain why students deserve better transit options and how a $5 City Bike membership can make a huge difference. Earlier this year, the newly formed Transportation Alternatives Youth Activist Committee embarked on our first ever citywide initiative, Bike More, which is advocating for the expansion of $5 per month membership programs for all NYC, DOE, and CUNY students ages 16 and older for City Bike. The purpose of our campaign is to advocate for improved transportation solutions that cater to students' needs. In this presentation, we'll be discussing the need for this program, its benefits, and how we've been engaging with the community. We'll also be addressing any relevant concerns and questions towards the end of the presentation, so please hold all your inquiries till then.
I'm sure most of you have gone to the subway station and you look at the ARC train departure boards, and the next ARC train is in what, 21 minutes, 22 minutes? It happens all the time. And they're nicknamed the rarely never for a reason. Many times I watch students walk through the door of the school like 20, 30, 40 minutes late because the trains are late again. And these long waits on top of what can be a lengthy commute from students, especially if they're going out of this district, can lead them having to wake up super early or being late to school or even both. And students in University have to go through this dilemma because on top of our train speed being consistent has one of the lowest average bus speeds in the city, with buses traveling at only 6.6 miles per hour. In comparison, City Bike travel an average speed of 8.3 miles per hour, so they are literally faster to take. Unfortunately, trains and buses are the most affordable and accessible forms of public transit, which is why we all deal with these challenges. Another option that stands just beyond the fingertips of most students, biking. With bikes, you gear up and start pedaling. You don't have to worry about passengers holding doors, getting stuck behind a taxi or some other MTA delay because another person has thrown up on the platform. Yeah, but bikes aren't exactly cheap, and lack of secure storage at home isn't really an incentive to buy one.
The current City Bike membership model doesn't make it any easier for students. At $220 per year, paid in one lump sum, it's a significant expense that's incredibly out of reach for many students like us. This upfront cost can be an incredible major barrier, especially for those living on tight budgets as students. According to a recent CUNY report, half of CUNY students come from households with incomes of less than $30,000 per year. Similarly, students served by NYC public schools reported to be economically disadvantaged during the 2022 to 2023 school year. For us, finding an extra $220 per year for a bike membership can be an incredibly daunting and difficult task. That's why an affordable bike share campaign, like the $5 City Bike campaign, is essential. By offering a discounted membership rate, we can make biking a viable option for students who need it most without breaking the bank. By making City Bike more affordable for NYC students, we can empower them to take control of their daily commutes, reduce their financial stress, and focus on their academic and personal goals. It's a simple yet powerful way to promote mobility, equity, and opportunity for all. Beyond the economic case for expanding student access to City Bike, there are several other benefits to promoting biking as a viable and effective transportation option for students to get around the city. According to numerous studies, such as the one done by the National Institutes of Health, as little as 20 to 30 minutes of daily exercise is correlated to improved mental and physical health, and biking will do just this. These benefits aren't only related to health. 60% of City Bike users report feeling more energized and alert after cycling, which could lead to better focus and concentration in class for students. In addition, cycling is an effective and environmentally friendly way to reduce your carbon footprint, which is a main contributor to our climate crisis. By making City Bikes more affordable, the campaign would help to create a more sustainable, equitable, and healthy transportation system for all New York City students.
To give you a better insight into our campaign strategy, I've outlined our campaign milestones, what we hope to accomplish by early 2025. In February 2024, we launched our campaign at Vision Zero Youth Day. Since March, we've been actively canvassing and engaging in grassroots outreach to gather 880 plus signatures of support from New York City residents. During the summer, we focused on connecting with over 80 schools and community organizations to build our letter of support. And this fall, we'll be making our rounds to deliver presentations to all the community boards like this one in the City Bike Zone. And then finally, in January 2025, we plan to meet with the City Bike Equity Team to show them the support we've gathered from residents, our community boards, and to formally present our proposal for the $5 per month City Bike membership for students.
On the slideshow are some of the anticipated questions that we've encountered throughout our campaign regarding proving eligibility, safety, and funding for it.
In terms of running eligibility, we propose a verification system for students to access their membership using a unique code that the schools give them.
To address safety concerns regarding biking, we propose implementing measures such as helmet distribution, bike safety workshops, education programs, and partnering with local organizations, as well as collaborating with CUNYs, DOT, and DOE on these proposals. These initiatives will educate students on safe biking practices and provide them with the necessary resources and tools they need to navigate heavy traffic while effectively transporting themselves via bike.
To make this initiative a reality, we'll need secure funding. Mayor Gaddens made a promise during his candidacy to find public funds to subsidize City Bike that has failed to maintain its pledge or its integrity. So, as of right now, we're exploring subsidy options to work around this, but we believe the long-term benefits, health, academic performance, and environmental definitely outweigh the cost.
And with that, we want to conclude with a couple of key takeaways from this presentation that we hope you understand. Number one, students deserve better and more affordable transit options. Number two, it is feasible to reduce the price of these City Bike memberships. And number three, the benefits of doing so outweigh the risks.
Thank you for considering our proposal. The Youth Activist Division urges you to pass a resolution and join the movement for affordable, sustainable, and accessible transit. Together, let's gear up for progress and create a brighter future for our students. Ride with us and support our resolution today.
Thank you. We don't typically, clap for presentations, but I think this one was there. So thank you so much. Joining virtually and in person, and just your strength in presentation skills. Very good. We will have some additional questions, and I'll say what I heard was a call for a solution to support this as something as part of the discussion. If someone wants to suggest that, but okay, so open a question. Okay. There might be some good questions that are learning opportunities as well.
I have a question.
Oh, okay. We're gonna just start with Jamie. We'll just start with Jerry in the room, and then we'll turn to you.
Sure, I can type it in the chat.
Oh, it's okay. We'll open the mic for you. Jerry, go ahead.
Okay, so I think it's a great idea. I think I will go back to the 50-something-year-old student in community discount. My suggestion, I do have and he does ride a bike to the house and to the school. The problem is there's no acquisition. So you might want to look into that as part of your presentation. How, you think that you can alternate relay looking for second, I see that you went back, you did not include private school, charter school, bike, and veterans. I'm veterans, and I don't even get $5 discount from City Bike. So my suggestion is, you should add private school, charter school, and figure out the option situation. So make your presentation better. Thank you.
Jamie? Jamie, do you have a question?
Yeah, are you proposing that the membership would include the e-bikes as well?
Okay, great. And then Sam, do you have a question? Do you want to ask it and then we'll go all of these?
Sure. Can you hear me okay? Well, thanks for the presentation. Great job. I don't think anybody in the room disagrees with anything in your presentation or any statement that you made. I wanted to ask specific to the $5 discount. Would we be looking to have that $5 discount 24, or is it during your school days or school hours? I just wanted to ask that. I don't know if that was for. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So, I don't know if you remember all of them, but I can help. You want to go to the.
Okay, so for the first question, the reason why, first of all, the docs, I am a high school student. I cannot do anything about that. We are, I would love to do more docs, trust me, but I can't, like, it's not in my control really. So the second question, why are we not including veterans or people in private schools? The answer is that most people we're trying to target people who are economically disadvantaged here, first of all, which is majority of public school students. Private school students generally have less of an issue on this, and also it would be harder because they usually don't receive as much, or if any, public funding from the state or the city. So it's like they're usually not involved in like city proposals like this. And for veterans, the program is led by students. So,
I do think there could be an opportunity to include charter schools because of the backgrounds. Yeah, that can be in our resolution, just to make sure, given the diversity of background, kind of students who go to charter schools as well. So, and then last question was around bikes.
Yes, e-bikes would be included in this because e-bikes are they're part of city bikes. They're bikes, and there's also like no good way to really exclude e-bikes if that were to be a thing. Like you're just gonna lock up certain bikes and not allow them to be used. Because also it answers the third question as well. The way that the e-bike works is you have a monthly membership or a yearly membership, as it is right now, $220 per year. So you don't just it would work during all hours because you don't just rent out bikes during the membership is active for all 30 days, not just during school hours.
Yeah, that people have after school and before school. So we're gonna just ask you this: have any other community board passed a resolution in support the campaign? Okay, so that's helpful.
Even like it was 5 or 6.
I think it's up to 6 now.
So up to 6 community boards in all of New York City have passed resolutions to support this.
I think any of them have failed a resolution, although a couple of them are undecided.
Okay, yeah, we'll leave the transportation committee. Okay, so last question.
Yeah, I want to actually urge our members here that if we do adopt a resolution, that the private schools be included, because actually in our neighborhood, there are some, including many people who do have a lot of people who are struggling. Plus city programs like the free Metro cards cover private school students in New York. So if you're trying to get more people cycling, and trying to get more people using the city bike, I think it would be advantageous to have a wider population of all of the students eligible rather than just the other one. And I also like Jerry's suggestion about the veterans too, because City Bike has discounted memberships for first responders, for NYCHA, and for a few other groups. So adding more groups is also of interest to me. So, but up to committee discussion for us to figure that out.
So, okay, thank you for your presentation.
That's my last question. Sure. I will say that, like, I think that veteran memberships or discounts are a good idea, but that's just kind of not what we're doing. I don't represent City Bike. And we have limited hours, so we're not like setting our goals super high with this one. I don't want to try to like include half of the city in this. So I think we're just going to be focused on the current membership targeting like the people who really need it most, which are public schools and communities.
Great, thank you. And it's not $5 off, it's a $5 membership, right? That's just, there's been some language that has been used in the room. I just want to make sure.
It's $5 per month. The current program is $220 per year. $5 per month is $60 per year. So like a 75 with a discount as well.
Does anyone want to introduce the resolution?
Yeah, I move to support this, but with the amendment that it covers all K-12 students, as well as CUNY students. Just because I wanted to be inclusive. I know for my family, we send our kids to a parochial school, and the free MTA card that's eligible 24 hours or 24/7, 365. It's been a game changer for our family. So having things like this would maybe make us consider bicycling, which hasn't been. So my resolution is to support the $5 $5 memberships for City Bike for all K-12 students and CUNY students.
Say one thing
We
about
have a resolution on the floor, so now the committee needs to discuss procedures. Thank you. But of course, I'm always reminding myself.
It hasn't been seconded.
It
So
hasn't
not on the floor
been
yet.
seconded
So-
yet. Oh, so technically you could have. Okay, if you wanted to.
What I was going to say is that, sorry, but the thing is that, you can only ride City Bike if you're 16 and over, so it's like mostly, for high school students, you're not having like fifth graders riding City Bikes. That would be not a great idea. So it's like mostly, juniors and seniors, and then some sophomores.
Well, that's a very good, that's a good intervention. No, that's a great intervention. Proposing that.
Thank you.
So John, do you want to move to?
It's so moved. Looking for a second.
Okay, Sam has seconded it. Okay. Any discussion on the proposal to support the $5 done, $6 a year City Bike for 16 and up from K through 12, including?
Yeah, all New York City students ages 16 and up and the CUNY students.
Great. Okay. Okay. All right. I propose to move this to unanimous consent. Okay. Do we still have quorum in the room? Just realizing Jerry walked out.
Quorum call? 1, 2. Hang on. Don't ask for a quorum call. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, it's still.
Okay, great. So we will but do this by unanimous consent. Is there any? Seeing any? Okay, so it has passed a resolution. So we'll share the official guys. So thank you so much. Thank you for presenting. Really great. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. All right. We have one more agenda item to stretch. Feel free to stretch right now, but I'll invite actually Transportation Committee member Jamie Freed is going to do this final presentation on
To share the funds.
Hi, everyone.
See, share screen. Yeah.
having around some call.
Hi, sorry. Should I share my screen with you all?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. One sec.
Maybe Jamie, you can just kick off and introduce yourself for Transportation Committee.
Hi, guys. transportation. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a resident of the work at Family Health Centers at NYU. And that's speak right into the microphone. All right. For those of you who don't know me, resident positions. The Family Health Centers at NYU, so I work part-time at the hospital, 56th Street, 2nd Avenue, and also at a clinic on 49th Street, 5th Avenue. I get everywhere by city bikes, so all over these streets on a daily basis. Very familiar with representing parts of our semi-integrated cycling network. Yeah, I've been in touch with open plans to put forward some of their work on advancing daylighting at the citywide community. More on that once the slides are up.
She's not in the meeting now. That's her meeting. It's not in the meeting. I guess it is, but it said she was not in the meeting.
Emily, are you able to share your screen for the presentation?
I am so sorry about that. I think sharing has been turned off. Sorry about that.
She left the room, I guess.
I had to go on through my other computer because mine was glitching for some reason. Sorry about that, but I'm all set.
You could share your screen.
Alrighty. Sorry about that. Here we go.
So I think we have all had the experience of either driving and seeing a pedestrian jump out from behind a parked car and testing our reflexes, our heartbeat and our throats, or as a pedestrian having to heave around the corner of a parked car in order to see if an advancing vehicle is coming and it's safe to cross. And there is fortunately a solution to this problem. Clear the next slide. That solution is called daylighting. And so here we're going to talk about what daylighting is, what the current status of both the state and city laws are. We'll go over some of the benefits, basic examples. I'll take some questions at the end. So daylighting is a street design intervention where visual instructions at the intersection are and it provides higher visibility for all the road users, including pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. This increased visibility is proven to reduce injuries and fatalities on the street. So you can see an example here where in the first picture, the driver is unable to see pedestrians at the intersection and entering a crosswalk due to the presence of parked cars. And we remove those cars, the visibility lines broaden such that all pedestrians are in sight. That gives you the opportunity to replace those parking spots with infrastructure that is contributes to public good, like swales or like corrals or benches in public space. Right now, the New York State law actually says that every single intersection in the entirety of New York State needs to be daylighted. But New York City has an exception and so opts out of the state law. There is a New York City law that says that we need to daylight an additional 100 intersections per year. But there are 50,000 intersections in the 5 boroughs. So at this rate, we won't really be adhering to the state law for another 500 years. So ACT actually proposed for ambitious agenda, daylighting 1,000 intersections a year. However, as we've noted, seems to be a pattern tonight, we did not follow through on this one. And from September 23 to August 24, only 314 locations were daylighted, only 45 in the entirety of Brooklyn. It's not enough. Again, why we need it is because intersections are dangerous. After more than half of traffic fatalities happen and more than 2/3 of traffic injuries. That's the conflict point between folks in cars and trucks and other users of the roads like pedestrians and cyclists. And benefits.
Sorry.
Pedestrians can see vehicles better. Vehicles can see pedestrians better. Insurance crossing. So for pedestrians when you create sidewalks calls and parking spaces. It's critical for disabled folks, people who are using, I guess, a seated transportation modality like a wheelchair or scooter, who don't have as good visibility as standing adult, have a much harder time navigating parking spaces as they obstruct visibility and intersections. So this makes things a lot safer for the disabled. Just some crash maps from our district. I don't know if you guys have used this crash map website, but it lets you see where vehicle and pedestrian and cycle injuries and fatalities have occurred. And so in the last year, there have actually been over 800 crashes in Community Board 7, 600 of those involving motorists, and tragically, 5 fatalities. It looks even worse if you look at the past 7 years, where there have been over 5,000 crashes, more than 3,000 involving motorists, and a tragic 30 fatalities, some of which have been discussed here, close and personal to this community. We have a few examples. The city has started doing this in our own backyard. So this is 4th Avenue, something we're all familiar with from the discussions tonight. In the remodel, the city did try to daylight several intersections and replace parking spaces with brown paint. I did a little individual traffic study a couple weekends ago. I biked up and down 4th Avenue, counting the number of these that were actually clear versus the cars parked in them. And I found that about 1 in 4 spaces have cars in it. The majority of those cars were NYPD cruisers or had police officers. I took 2 things from this study. One is that we really need parking infrastructure to enforce this. You need to build sidewalk level height or put bike corrals or provide rails or benches there to keep the cars out. And also, 75% is a lot better than 0. So putting the paint down did make a pretty huge difference in terms of increasing visibility on 4th. Here's another example on 5th Ave. It's critical because cars coming down these cross streets often have a lot of momentum. It's a pretty steep hill. As you can see on the left, it would be very difficult for that ice cream truck barreling down the hill to see a pedestrian during the crosswalk. And the right, once it's been daylit and the pedestrians are more visible. So the easiest thing to do are to throw down paint. We've seen that work somewhere to 75% on 4th Ave. You can put lane markings, you can have those flex codes that they have in some places on 4th Ave. Planters, granite blocks are slightly better. The long term is really exciting for the community. One cool option is you put in tidal swales, which are earthen plants that can absorb water and reduce the risk of urban flooding. So you can throw lights there, put benches or tables and chairs in public space. You can theoretically put trash containers that are collectible with a lever arm truck, which I know is a big ambition of the Department of Sanitation. And you can extend the curb and shorten crossing distance. It's not just an issue that applies to Community Board 7. This is, of course, a citywide issue. And there's been a real growing course of support across the city. You can see that it's not something like crazy cyclist thing. There's 2.5 million New Yorkers and their community representatives have already supported resolutions in favor of universal daylighting in the entire city. The goal of this collective effort is to pressure the lawmakers to update the city law to adhere to the state law. So yeah, any questions?
That's great. So it's great that Jamie is a transportation committee member who's doing this presentation tonight. So I'll ask board members have any questions.
So I was doing a little bit of looking into this in advance of this, and I saw that the state's daylighting law is somewhat more ambitious than just the 20 feet at each intersection. They also have things like in front of firehouses and also 30 feet near stop signs. Am I understanding that correctly?
Not super familiar with the letter of the state law.
And the reason I ask that is because, you know, at some intersections, you really need more stuff. Like at 60th and 3rd, as much as we complained about that. They've actually increased the daylighting, which is very good when nobody parks there. Which relates to the next thing is you talked about all the wonderful things like bioswales and the planters, like in Park Slope, they have some amazing like planters and bark like things that their paintings want to become, useful then. Are you also proposing any like design standards that go into this so that we can ensure that these things stay day lit? I know you talked about concrete, but is that like going to be part of the standard or?
Resolution, which I haven't gotten to yet. Language is hardened infrastructure like bike racks, container track. And like I was saying, I think it is critical to have the hardened infrastructure, and even without it, daylighting does make a difference. I think I deserve for that.
And is there anything about prioritizing locations by schools? Because I know that, the kids, it can be such a risk, especially for small when they're small, and if pre-Ks and stuff, you have strollers, which.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this resolution, I guess I should read the text of the resolution. You guys, but in this resolution, the text includes prioritizing intersections within 1 block radius of any school, senior center, or facility for the disabled.
Okay, so we'll go to Jerry, and maybe what I'll do is stack the questions again, just so that, so Jerry and then you understand the questions. Okay, so we'll just go to Jerry if you have a question. And then we'll come back.
Oh, wait, I remember. John asked most of my question already, but as a driver, more than a biker, this is great, because as a driver, you're absolutely right. Prior to the intersection, don't slow down because you never know. But I love it.
Jeremy?
So I'm not praising what DOT did on 4th Avenue. We've been waiting 6 years for them to do the cement work. I think what they've done is made it more dangerous because without enforcement, those areas are parked. And now you can't see the bicyclists coming when you're making a turn. I would hope there would be language calling for all of these to have some sort of hardened infrastructure rather than allowing NYPD or anybody else to park. Yesterday, I saw a whole bunch of people who were attending a funeral on the next block, or all in every last one of these, by the school, by the church, by this building. Without that hardened infrastructure and without enforcement efforts, it makes it more dangerous. I would suggest that there's some level of hardened infrastructure in each one of these. I would caution certain level of that. I would want to see what the trash bins would look like, because you don't want to take out one thing blocking the view and put something else in that would block the view.
So let's move to hearing the resolution. Changes that I want to lose quorum.
Community Board 7 hereby expresses its full support for the universal daylighting of intersections throughout New York City and requests DOT follow New York State law and install curb extensions for daylighting at all intersections, starting with intersections within 1 block radius of any school, senior center, or facility. If the curb extension is not installed, the daylight spot should be hardened with something to prevent illegal parking, such as a bike rack, containerized trash, planters, or boulders. These extensions should be used to strengthen social and transportation networks by creating green spaces, places to gather, places that support bike and bus transportation.
There's a second for
Modification. Adding community, maybe you said it was community centers, because in I can tell you now, 8 Avenue, Avenue, there's more community center / adult daycare. Right.
Yeah, senior center.
But you can add community center.
At community center.
Community center.
So as opposed to animal.
Senior and community.
And you accept?
I accept.
Okay, great. So do we have a second for that? Second? Okay, I'd like to propose we do the second. Set. Consent? Hearing none, we pass this. Wow, this committee passed so many resolutions tonight. Okay. Okay, I appreciate Jamie doing the presentation and Emily. And thank you so much. Okay, thank you. I want to say two things, and then we'll wrap up the meeting. Julio shared this in the last board meeting, that there was a meeting that we had, so just prior to the last board meeting. Right? That DOT scheduled a meeting to tell us about the Third Avenue study and design proposal, not the BQE redesign, the Third Avenue study redesign, that there would be more delays. Okay, so if you all remember, first there was going to be a design that was going to come to us in spring, implementation falls. So for implementation in summer, fall, that did not happen. And they were going to come back in the fall with the design to show us what we voted on, which was design option 3. But they were going to come and show us what the design would look like for the full bill. We kept asking, and the meeting that they had with us a week and a half ago was that they were not coming back to us, because that they had received additional requests for community engagement from the 3 entities that they shared, which was SBDIC, which is the Industrial Corporation, Industry, City, and so in that meeting, they cited that. And we also talked about how there are lots of stakeholders and lots of community members that really care about the design and implementation. So DOT has said if we want to share a list of critical stakeholders, businesses, community organizations, and others can be part of their further engagement, their enhanced engagement, that is something that we can send and follow up. We pressed for timelines. We said, what will your enhanced community engagement look like? What will it take the form of? We said, what's your new timeline? Back with a full build-out design of design 3, which was going to come in the spring, come in the fall. And they did not want to give us a timeline. So we don't want to be in this position. I don't think any of us wanted to be here where we are, but here we are. So we have an opportunity to follow up again with a list to include of additional again, I'm just speaking very broadly, businesses, organizations, places of interest, people who are going to be thinking about and impacted by the Third Avenue study, and then we'll follow up with DOT. So I know I'm not giving a lot of time for discussion of that, but we also need to prep DOT for more information about that community engagement looks like. You guys will remember there were like multiple rounds of meetings in person, there was virtual sessions in 22 and 23. We will be sharing some preliminary ideas, but it's something that if you are tuning in and listening to the presentation, you can send suggestions to the board. And then we will pick this back up on our November 12th meeting, which is our next transportation committee. So thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Meeting.
Yeah.